Hey, yo, this is Cash on the Hood with your host, Jason Sauer. We're going to be talking about art, hustle, and demolition derby. First guest on the first episode is going to be world champ Steven Sickles.
It's me.
That's you. I am thankful and happy that Steven is here. But before we get started, I got to tell you the business, which is you need to follow us on all the socials. So please go to Cash on the Hood on Instagram, Facebook, but also go to Most Wanted Fine Art on YouTube, where you're going to find this podcast when it becomes a video. So I want you to follow us, please. So Cash on the Hood is a term I use for how we buy a car. It's my technique for negotiating. Cash on the hood means I throw the cash on the hood, I look you dead in the eye, Steven, and I say, get your money.
That's what it's all about.
Now, I know Steven buys cars. He buys a lot of cars, and we're going to get to that. So, again, we're going to talk about art, hustle, demolition derby. One more time, please follow us on the socials. Most Wanted Fine Art on TikTok is just banging. Steven, what's your TikTok?
My TikTok's at Sickles911, so definitely give me a follow, too. I'll be doing little clips of this with Jason on there a little bit.
That's awesome. So before we get to Steven, since this is the very first podcast, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and then why you want to keep listening. All right. So at age 3, I sold my first drawing on the bus for 10 cents. And that's when I learned about Andy Warhol. So I've been chasing down Andy Warhol's legacy here in Pittsburgh. So in Pittsburgh, you can't get out from Andy Warhol's legacy. You have to make pop art. You got to kind of do what Andy did if you want to get out of here, if you can. Like, that's just a strategy. There's many strategies, about this. My granddad is from Pittsburgh. My son is 6 generations of Pittsburgh in the Garfield neighborhood. So my family came over here from Germany and Ireland, and they set up a steel business where they sold steel on Penn Avenue. That steel selling business became a heating and air conditioning company, so all that metal became ductwork. So you know about the Sauer brothers and J.A. Sauer here in the city of Pittsburgh. Now, growing up here, it wasn't as easy as you might think it is. So I went and joined the Army to get out of here. Never to come back to Pittsburgh. And while I was in the Army, I went to college because I didn't know what else to do with my life. And I met a professor who saw that I was spray painting and painting demolition derby cars as performance art. And the professor told me that I didn't have to become Picasso. I didn't have to learn anything new. I just got to keep being who I am with this identity. So that was in 1993 that I got that advice. And
I've been creating and following your own brand that long?
That long. So since 1993, I've had a demolition derby car each and every art opening of my entire life. There's times where we blew up a car in the street.
To put that in perspective, that is my entire life. I was born in 92, so.
Well, I've been trying to sell demolition derby as a high art form since I first knew about it and first knew about art. There's an artist out there named John Chamberlain who makes smash metal art. And John Chamberlain was popular during Andy Warhol's time. So just yesterday, we went to Andy Warhol's nephew's scrapyard. I didn't send you any of those videos, but they have a giant excavator, and they smash all the metal for me with their excavator. So when I was at that scrapyard, I was thinking, Steven, this is where you're heading to, is getting a big scale. You getting a scale? Are you going to get a scale, Steven?
Oh, yeah, I'll have a scale at the new shop. But the new shop's going to be more mechanic-based, but...
Okay. Well, I didn't know if you were going full-on scrapyard.
No. I don't get the property for that right now. Maybe down the road.
Down the road. All right. So as I was talking about art, the Warholas, when they grew up visiting Andy Warhol in New York City, at the corner at the top of his stairs, there was a piece of smashed metal junk art made by John Chamberlain. Now, they came from the scrapping business, and they're like, why do you have junk? And they're like, well, Andy's like, this is fine art. So I'm very lucky that the Warhols take sympathy on me and let me use their name, and we make art together. So it's pretty fitting that they own the scrapyard in town. So they own the museum in town, and then they own the scrapyard in town. So that's pretty fun, making art. Pardon me. So, quick, I want to give a shout out to our producer, Brian Cottington. He does the Cinema Psychos podcast. He has 241 episodes already. So, like I said, we are bringing in nothing but talent on this show. We're engineered. So after this audio drops, Brian puts it on all streaming platforms, and he makes sure that the world knows about what we're doing. So we got a professional crew right here. Then after that, the video goes to my main man, Gerardo, in Mexico, because we're an international most wanted fine art. And then Gerardo's going to put the graphics on it. Maybe he'll put Steven Sickles Racing graphics on it whenever we drop this on the Most Wanted Fine Art YouTube. So you heard a little bit about me. One more quick thing. How did I get started? I was going through my Polaroid phase, and we were in the garage building a demolition derby car for the Great Stone Borough Fair. And with the Polaroid phase, we had a dealer plate. You know how a dealer plate, do you have a dealer plate?
I do not.
You need a dealer plate.
I do.
I need a dealer plate for moving these cars. So there was American flag in the garage. We had a dealer plate. We had a Polaroid, and we had a Xerox machine. So we took pictures of everybody in the garage that day as they were mug shots. And then we glued all the Xeroxes to the car. The car became the Most Wanted Fine Art car. And that was in 1999. And what happened was that year I decided I wanted to go pro, and I started a website. So what happened was, if I had started the website in 1998, it'd be Pink Panther everything. So I'm very thankful in the choices that the world has given me. That now we've been running with Most Wanted Fine Art for 22 years now. So I started that out of an enclosed car trailer. I put easels in there. I invited a band. I went to Walmart parking lots. I went to parking lots at concerts like Nine Inch Nails. And I had a mobile art gallery. And that's how I got started before I bought my building on Penn Avenue. So that's a little bit about me, about what's going on. I want to talk to our world champion guest, Steven. Now, Steven, I was just in California with him, and I saw that Steven bought a piece of artwork. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so the most recent piece of artwork, I have a couple throughout the house. Looking forward, I've just been waiting for Jason to produce something that, like, I have to have. But it was just a guy spray painting on the sidewalk, and he was using the lids of paint cans and different things to make the shapes. But we stopped in Vegas before we went to California, so he did a representation of all the different symbols, not all the different symbols, but a lot of the main points of Vegas. It had the Bellagio with the fountains. It had some poker stuff. I mean, and on top of it, it was my colors, black and orange. So I had to pick it up.
It was done very well. Did you get it from Fremont Street? Is that where you got it?
Yeah, from one of the entertainers.
I love it. Yeah, there seems to be 2 different booths there on that street with the spray paint guys.
Yeah, I think they use a lot of the same things. So, I mean, I definitely respect your art way more than that. So, like, it seems like they're templated out, but it's still art.
It's
awesome.
amazing. Like, it's a skill. It's a craft.
They can take something and use a few brushes to do some stroke marks and some paint lids and make it look that good.
Art is subjective. So
they're quick. I mean, they just on to the next.
That's what spray paint does. Spray paint allows you to get moving. It has immediate satisfaction. You know what I mean? You spray paint a quick line. Now, I know that you've bought out Walmart of all the spray paint, and you have a current problem with that.
Yeah, so now I've been spraying the cars with the spray gun. During derby season, it gets a little bit rough for the spray paint crowd at Walmart.
Yeah, I hear that you're only allowed to buy 6 cans at a time in Walmart. This is the word in the pits.
Oh, they haven't limited me, but I mean, I'm world champ, right?
Right, exactly. They'll deliver it to your house. I suggested old Frankie Guy needs to start dropping off some paint for you, since he's your next door neighbor.
Oh, absolutely. I just don't like to bug him so much. He used to give me, actually, when I first got into derby, and I'd be like, hey, Frankie, give me some paint. And he'd walk in the back room, and he'd find me, because I always like to be incognito and hide, so I'd choose the darker colors. He'd walk in the back room and bring out like this gray or brown or black that had been there for years and been like, here, throw this on your car and show me how to do it. So Frankie did used to give me paint. I just don't like to bug him a lot.
He does have a large back room of back stock. I'm telling you, I've been back there looking for paint myself, and it's impressive. He's been there a long time, so I guess that happens. And then all the hardcore derby stuff is stacked on top of all that old paint.
Yeah, it's definitely. I feel like his business is 50-50 now, paint and derby. So I mean,
bless his heart. What got you into demolition derby?
From a young age. I mean, I went to the Fayette County Fair, and I was born in 92, so my dad started running. I want to say he ran like one in like 89 and then started in 94. So I grew up watching him battle the old timers and the stock style derbies, the 2 a.m., the 100 plus cars a night. I mean, that's what I grew up watching. And I was like, man, I got to do this when I get old enough.
That's for certain.
So I turned 14, and my dad, it's funny now, I run 20 to 30 shows a year. He limited me to one when I was under his control.
Well,
he said, "You're going to run one derby a year. That's all you get." So
it's good. I mean,
I ran. This will be my 16th year. So,
and you've ran a lot of derbies, especially becoming world champ. You have to take like 3 cars to each one. So before we get into all that, I mean, let's go back to your dad again. So you grew up in the garage. Your dad and your grandpa.
Yeah, more my dad. They had 2 different shops, so more around my dad.
I mean, they're literally across the street from one another.
yeah, but we like completely different customer bases, completely different shops. But yeah.
So you grew up knowing about how to turn wrenches. So when you were growing up, did your dad like make you learn how to do work on cars? He's like, you got to change this transmission. You got to change this alternator. What was?
I absolutely hated cars growing up.
Same here.
Yeah, so my parents were divorced. I went over there every other weekend. He had a couch in the garage with a TV. I mean, I'd help do little stuff, but like he was work. So getting on later in the episode, a lot of the hustle, I got to give my dad a shout out because he just never stops. But it made me at a young age disdain cars. Mm-hmm. Now, the only reason I probably ever got into cars was my love of demolition derby.
Right.
So I learned what I had to for the sport of demolition derby. I learned how to weld. I learned how to do basic mechanics. I'm not mechanically gifted, not instinctually, so I have to learn. Unlike a lot of people that are just like, oh, you do this, tear the motor down to this, and rebuild it. Mm-hmm. I'd be like, oh, I got to YouTube this. So
exactly.
I hated cars for a long time. I went to college for 2 years, and I was at a point where I decided that the major I was going for wasn't for me. I initially just wanted to take a 1-year hiatus. I came back, started tinkering in the garage just to make money, and I was like, hey, if I hustle at this, I can make a decent living. And I've turned it into some pretty good stuff.
So, and now looking back, you understand why your dad had to work.
Absolutely. I mean, one, he's a provider, as a lot of males are for their family, and I feel like he feels that's his way to.
It's a love language.
Be complete.
That's what I learned from my aunt. There's love languages in this world, and acts of service is a love language.
Yeah, so that was his way of showing our family that, hey, this is what I can do for you. This is me giving you guys myself.
Right. Well, he seems like a pretty young dad. You know what I mean? So I know that he had a lot on his plate, right? Starting right away.
Absolutely,
you know?
I couldn't imagine.
That's pretty. You come up from, you've really changed your trajectory in life, Steven. You went from, you decided that college wasn't for you. I watched you bounce around jobs. I watched you try to have that sales job. I watched you be miserable. I watched you go to the gym and try to change the outcome of your life. And then you kind of like struck on catalytic converters.
Yeah, so I guess I gambled on the market, and the market went the right way. There's a lot of guys out there that end up doing that, and it paid off. It could have went the other way, and I could be broke as a joke.
Well, I watch a lot of people who are trying to be like you, Steven, and it's tough now that you've already like kind of cornered your spot in this market.
Yeah, so
it's tough for
precious
beginners.
metals is hard for sure. everyone sees how luxurious it got for a little while, and everyone tries to leech onto that, but it's slowed down a touch, and it's gotten tougher. So jumping in now, it's like I couldn't imagine.
Right, you need 30, 40 cars just to get going, like right out the gate.
Absolutely.
Right out the gate.
I mean, I didn't start with that. Well, my dad had the cars. My dad had the stuff.
You sell candy in high school? You did, didn't you?
No comment.
I knew it. I could tell. You've been an entrepreneur since day one.
Oh, absolutely. I was hustling car parts even before I liked cars, though. I mean,
yeah.
At the age of 16, I was having my mom create eBay accounts, PayPal accounts because I wasn't old enough yet. So, like, even my PayPal account until recently was still, like, linked to her name sometimes. So, like, people would pay me something or I'd pay them, and they'd be like, "Who's Christina?" And I'd be like, "Listen, I started hustling car parts when I was 15. PayPal does not let you and like that because you don't have a bank account, you don't have this, so I had to use a lot of her stuff."
Well, that's good. You had a lot of support, and you seem to be surrounded by a good crew of people who care about you and want you to succeed.
Oh, absolutely. I got good parents, good family, for sure.
And great friends.
Great friends, a good girlfriend. Yeah, I do good.
We're blessed. So that was a little bit of the first episode, what I wanted to talk about with you, Steven. I'm thinking about how you got here. Like, you had to get up at, like, what, 5 in the morning to come hang out with me. So today, once you're done here, you're meeting your Demolition Derby cars on the highway.
Yeah, so when you touched on the good friends, my friend Mark Metz, also known as Marky Bang Bang, he'll love that. He's like, "Are you going to give me a shout out?" I was like, "I don't know, man." But
Mark Metz, fine art.
We were in, Mark Med, the circle, dot, or whatever he does with the pig. But, so anyways, we were in the garage till pretty late last night, and we didn't get the cars loaded up. So we had two options: either get up at like 4, head over to the garage, load them up, and the option B was I get up at 5, get showered, get cleaned up. Jason told me to wear a new shirt. So I don't know what the deal was with that. But the option B was me get up at 5, get here at 8, meet them in Washington afterwards, and they could sleep till 8. So they chose option B to load the cars and just meet me in Washington today, and then we're going to roll west to the Derby.
It's a 2-car trailer?
Yeah, it's a 2-car trailer, so...
Oh, that thing is really important to your success, that's for certain. Your single-car trailer, you might not have won as many trophies if it wasn't for having 2 cars at each and every event.
Absolutely. That was one of the best investments of my life. I mean...
Yeah? Mine was a pair of rubber boots.
Pair of rubber boots?
That was one of my best investments.
The trailer and a good truck was definitely key for me.
Well, I want to talk about that truck. It's got the Sickles on there. I know that you have a new truck. But you were the original founding member of the Most Wanted Car Club, and you got your truck spray painted by me so many years ago in your small garage.
6 years ago.
You took a real chance on old Jason Sauer.
Yeah.
And and you were the first one to really just blast your own name across your whole truck. Everyone else gets like action figures, Mario, whatever on their car. Yes, but you were the first one that said Sickles.
Yeah, and that tied into the hustle, the Demolition Derby, and the art. So that was the beauty of that project.
You've hauled a lot of catalytic converters with that truck.
We started on that truck, and I can never remember speaking on my dad. He walked in, and he walked in, pulled me aside, and said, "You sure you wanted to do this?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Jason got it. He'll get it figured out. He'll do whatever. I'll let you have your artistic freedom there.
Thank you.
And at first, with a lot of the spray paint, it just looks like colors everywhere. And he was like scratching his head, and I'm like, "No, watch what this guy does." And I mean, I put a base coat on it. Jason came in like 2 hours, had the whole truck knocked out, and it still looks good. Yeah,
you cleared it. It worked out really well. But your dad still fusses about that. He worries, as most people do, they worry about the return of investment on cars. For a lot of people, that their car is their second biggest investment of their life. And people worry about that. So spray painting an investment, knowing that you're going to lose some money on that investment. But I don't think you lose money on trucks. You can spray paint that truck black and still be worth...
I just had a feeling. I never had a vehicle long in my life before that. I mean, I was a year or two on to the next one, just constantly changing vehicles, and I just had a feeling that truck would stick with me no matter what. So, like, I don't see me ever getting rid of it, so I wasn't worried about the investment because there's not going to be a return at the end. The return is enjoying it while I have it.
That's beautiful. You're a visionary artist, and you don't even know it. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
I'm not so good with a rattle can.
I watched you trying. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think I need to buy some better quality stuff.
Well, don't get it from Frankie. I was getting handmade cans from Frankie, and they're like almost $30.
Yeah.
I had Teddy Bauer there shaking up he hand makes each and every can for me. So the cans, I only use them on the trophy cups for the most wanted fighter.
You know what? If you get a Walmart, though, it's getting close to that. I mean, spray paint has went up a lot in the past year, I feel like.
Yeah, it's $7 for a can of clear now.
Yeah, it's insane.
I could just go to the paint store and buy my fancy cans for $10 and get better quality. And so I think that's where we're headed. I'm almost done with the Rust-Oleum. So tell everybody again about your TikTok.
So, yeah, if you want to follow me, follow the shenanigans, follow the hustle. There's a lot of Jason on there. There's a lot of art. There's a lot of derbies. There's a lot of hustle. Everything that this show's about, me and Jason both embody. I'm a little bit less art, of course. But follow me at Sickles911 on TikTok. You can follow me on my Facebook to see my shenanigans. I'm constantly doing something. I'm talking 6 a.m. to midnight. I sleep very little and just go, go, go.
I love that. I appreciate that. And lately, you've been doing how-to videos on your TikTok, how to build cars. Your girlfriend almost has 1 million views. She's almost beating you.
No, she's kicking my ass in views. So, literally just a video of creasing and showing the structural integrity that we change on the cars to derby them. Just a video simple as that. Got a ton of views and a ton of people that I couldn't believe had no idea what demolition derby was, because they're like, why would you do this to a van? Well, I'm going to hit this van into another van, and I want my van to be tougher than their van. So
that's it.
People have no clue about demolition derby in a lot of ways.
And that's what we're here to bring some, enlighten people about. We want to advance the sport. The sport is in a period of flux right now. What we're learning is I think we need to start changing some of the cars. We're running out of 70s cars, like really quickly. And the 70s cars. So in demolition derby, there's like 3 style of cars, right? There's like the 70s cars, there's the Camrys that you do, and then there's like everything else.
Yeah, so...
there's a Crown Vic, my bad.
Yeah, so there's 70s, 80s, compacts, and then pretty much vans. Truck classes, few and far in between, but I mean, there are places that do it.
Well, I guess what I was saying is the ability to get cars is getting tougher. You have to become, on top of it. You got to be on on the marketplace, be right there when that car drops, be able to buy it. That's what we say about the cash on the hood. You got to show up right now with cash.
Slam that money down.
Slam that money down, because you're not going to get that car. And if you want to win like Steven Sickles, you need to start with a good car. You want to start with something clean.
Absolutely.
You're going to start heading to Virginia and lower,
Oh, I got cars all the way from California thanks to my buddy Jason.
Oh, well, I want you to succeed, and I'm here to support you in all your efforts to succeed. So, again, I want to break it down here, let you guys know I appreciate you listening to our very first podcast. This is pretty cool. I'm looking at Brian. How do you feel about it? All right, we feel pretty good. Producer Brian from the Cinema Psycho says we did great for our first podcast. So for those of you who stuck around to the very end, let me recap what I need you to do. Please subscribe to Cash on the Hood on all audio platforms. Wherever you get your podcasts, subscribe to it. Then if you got extra time, go to Most Wanted Fine Art on YouTube, hit the subscribe button there. Go to Steven Sickles. That's Sickles911 on TikTok. Follow him there. Follow me at Most Wanted Fine Art on TikTok. Our TikToks are banging right now. We are crushing. Our numbers are growing each and every day.
Yeah.
And we're getting millions of views. So that's what we're here doing, is we're capitalizing on the fame that we've already accrued from these. So to recap, near everybody in Demolition Derby knows our name. There's a stadium all over America, except for on the West Coast. You need a little more West Coast action, Steven.
Ugh, that was rough.
I'm telling you. But we want to capitalize on all that good spirit that has been coming our way. So we have people who know our name up and down the coast, on the East Coast, all over America. So this podcast is to give you a little more of a glimpse of the inside of our life. And that's why we want you to listen, because we have a unique perspective, a unique experience, and we're hustlers, my man. You know we're hustlers. We are here to get that cash, make that money. And so please follow us on all platforms. Steven, give him a shout out.
I don't know what to say. I just appreciate Jason for the opportunity to go on Cash on the Hood. And
all right, we thank Steven, and I thank Brian and Gerardo for everything you guys do for us. Thank you, StudioME, for giving us this opportunity to use the studio and make a great podcast. So I'm Jason Sauer for Cash on the Hood, and we are out.